Hey guys, it's Jen over at jenscrappypages.blogspot.com, and this is today's card. I have it in two different colors, well, because they're both cute, but the papers that I used on this one were retiring and they're no longer available as of, well, I don't know when, but I checked this morning and saw that. So I ended up changing up my colors and my papers using the Tasty Treats papers. So this one, do you see that shimmer on those little windows? I'm going to show you how to make that. It was a technique that Jennifer McGuire showed, and I just could not wait to apply it to one of my cards. So here's the other one done up in the Peekaboo Peach, and then this one was in So Saffron. So let's get started with the supplies, and I'll get started with telling you how I put the card together. I did use some of the enamel gems or enamel shapes from the Brights collection, and then a basic black stamp pad. The stamp set Your Sublime, which has been one of my favorite sets, and it is retiring. And on a little side note quick, today is the last day that the retiring stamp sets will be available, guaranteed. Starting tomorrow, they will only be available while supplies last. So if you want to get your hands on this adorable stamp set, you might want to do so quickly before it sells out, along with any of the other stamp sets that are retiring in the 2016 catalog. So that's that. I just wanted to let you know. And then the dies that I used were the Layering Circles dies, and I used the largest circle from this one, the Scallop Circle, and then the Stitch Shapes framelits, and I used the largest circle from the framelits on this one. For markers, I'll go through these when I'm coloring so I don't spend too much time on them, but these are the markers that I used. I've been having such a blast playing with them. I used a little bit of Wink of Stella, and then the Banner Triple Punch. This is new to me, and I cannot believe that I waited this long to buy it. So, then for cardstock and papers, we'll go over that quick. If I can get this out of here. I used a 4 1/4 by 11 Pool Party for my base, and then a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 square, which cuts out the large scallop circle. And then you'll need a scrap of Peekaboo Peach to stamp out your little submarine on, and then 4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White, a scrap of Whisper White to stamp out your submarine again, and then a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 square to cut out the largest stitch circle. A 1 1/2 by 5 3/8 piece from the Tasty Treats, and then this is 1 1/2 by 4, but you're not going to need this whole entire piece, and I'll show you why once we get to cutting for those. So let's get started with the coloring in and the layering of the submarine, since that's going to take the longest and we'll need some dry time for that. So what I did is I cut out, I stamped and then cut out my little submarine from the Peekaboo Peach instead of coloring it in with the marker. I found that when I colored it in with the marker, it kind of left streaky lines because I just used the regular Whisper White cardstock. So I'm going to cut this guy out quick and fast forward while I'm doing it. Alright, so this is cut out. I'm just going to set that aside for now. And from one of my little fishies, just to give it a little bit more depth on there, I ended up cutting it out from this little piece left over. You don't have to. You can certainly color both of them in, but I cut mine out. Alright, so he's cut out now. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to color in my little windows on this extra one that I had cut out, and I'm going to color them in using my Pool Party marker. And then we're going to cut out each one of these from the submarine. Okay. So now we have all these 3 cut out. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and adhere my image to the circle, because then we're going to do the rest of it while it's on top of here. So that's just going to go here. And then what I'm going to do next, actually, is I'm going to take my basic black marker, and I'm going to use the brush tip on this. And I'm just going to take it with the edge of my marker and go along the edge. And what this does is it just kind of helps give it a finished look. It covers over the white edge from when you cut it. And I think that it just ends up giving it more of a completed look. All right, so that is done. And then we're going to take our glue dots, and I used larger ones for these because they were the perfect size for these little windows. And then I'm just going to stick one on each of these. And this also kind of helps give a little bit of dimension, that's what it is. So instead of using like a pop dot, I felt like that would give too much dimension, but these just have the enough height on them where it kind of has it sticking up just a little bit above the Whisper White and the rest of it. And I lied, we're not going to stick that down yet. I think I did that on the last card. We need to put this down. So I'm just going to use a little bit of my fine tip glue pen to do that, and you don't need a whole lot on here. And that's just going to get stuck on top, making sure that all of your edges are lined up so you don't have any white peeking through. That sticks pretty quickly, so. Okay, so now we can add the little windows back to it. I just love how this all starts taking shape. And then we're going to glue our little fishy on. Just a little tad bit of the glue on this guy. He doesn't need much. He's so cute. Okay, so then I came in with the Tangerine Tango, and I just colored in this little fishy behind him. And then I used my, what is it called? My Smoky Slate. Let me make sure I got the right tip. And I colored in the Smoky Slate on this little stack here. And then on the back part of these, and then just this little teeny tiny piece in through here. And then I came back through with the basic gray and colored in the rest of the stack, and then these pieces here. And then lastly, with our colors, I brought in a little bit of Bermuda Bay, and I just colored in this little guy here and this little guy here, and then I used my Pool Party to color in the rest. So that's that. Now is where the magic happens. I absolutely love this technique. You guys know how I am about my Wink of Stella. So I can't remember which video it was that I watched of Jennifer McGuire's, but she took the Wink of Stella and she colored on, you know, just brushed that shimmer on to wherever she wanted it. So I'm just going to do my windows. I'm going to do each of these little tiny bubbles, and then I'm going to do my little fishies. And then I even went back over mine just a second time, just to make sure that I had a nice layer of shimmer down. You probably don't need to, but I just wanted to make sure that I had a good layer of it on here. All right, so I'm going to let that set aside and kind of finish drying a little bit. And then we'll just get to putting the card base together. So we're going to take our Pool Party cardstock and we're just going to stick the Whisper White on top of it. And that's just going to go flat onto here. And we're going to take, this is such an easy card. I was just so excited, and I don't know, I just really thought it turned out super sweet. So this is where we're going to take our banner punch. And remember, the measurement is 1.5 by 5 3/8. So I wanted to have a 1.5 by 5 for my banner here. But when you put this all the way down into the banner punch and punch it, it takes off quite a bit at the bottom. So I figured that if I added that 3/8 of an inch, then I would have my 5 inches. So then I'm just going to punch. So I think that got stuck. So that's that. And then this one I just kept a little bit longer. You're not going to use all of it, but I thought it would be easier to have an extra bit of it at the top, so I wasn't, you know, putting a little 2-inch piece in there. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and I'm going to cut it down to 2 inches. And, you know, there might only be like an inch of this that is showing underneath, but so then we're just going to adhere these on. And this is going to go, I don't know, maybe 3/8 of an inch off to the side. Or maybe even 1/2 of an inch. I don't know the exact measurement, but that's approximate. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to adhere this one on as well. And that's just going to go right about here, just kind of making sure that it's straight up and down when you do it. And we're going to take some dimensional elements. No, they're not Stampin' Dimensionals. That's what it is. I always get those two confused. I guess that's part of my Close to My Heart coming back to, you know, phrases and words that I used with them. So yes, your Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm just going to put a few of those on here. And that's going to get put just right about here. So you're going to have maybe about 1/4 of an inch on either side from your white to your Peekaboo Peach there, your pattern paper. Let's go ahead and throw on these little gems. And I gotta be honest with you, as I always am. I think this might be a little bit lower, but that's okay. So this is not Peekaboo Peach because I didn't have enough of the Peekaboo Peach, and this is not Pool Party, again, because I didn't have enough of the Pool Party, but I ended up finding colors that were, you know, close enough in hue to it so I could go ahead and use these on my card, and I think they still turned out really nice on there. So I'm just going to kind of layer these here and then just put a few up here. I really love how those add just a little touch of color coming around my sentiment, and just adds a little bit more definition and interest for the eye to go to. I'm looking for my bone folder, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of recrease that. And then the last thing that we're going to do on here is the coolest part, I think, of this whole entire project. And that is taking your fine tip glue pen, which can also be used as like a glossy effects or liquid glass. And that is just going to come on top of our Wink of Stella. And your shimmer from the Wink of Stella is going to shine through. And then you'll have the gloss from the fine tip glue pen because it dries clear. So then you'll have these kind of shimmery windows when you're done with this when it's dry. Isn't that just the coolest idea? I can't wait to try this on some of my other projects. So I put it on these windows, and then I'm going to put just a few drops here to all of my little bubbles. And then lastly, I'm going to put some on my little fishies, and everything is going to be popped and shimmery and glossy, and I think that's kind of what makes this card the coolest. So there it is. Isn't that just the neatest? Look at that, the gloss and the shimmer on that. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys learned a little something new today. And remember, if you want to get this stamp set, which I think it's one of the cutest ones, don't hesitate in ordering it, because once it's gone, it's gone. So thanks again for watching. I will talk to you later. Oh, and don't forget, if you want instructions or dimensions for these cards, to hop on over to my blog, jenscrappypages.blogspot.com. Talk to you later. Bye.